Hey, Yushman. Yep. First, once more. Good job. Welcome. Hello, Infinite Coder. Okay, we are getting ready to do some more fuzzing today. MLAG unblocked us from being able to run the fuzzer in release safe. So now we can fuzz faster, better, faster, stronger, smarter. Well, I don't know about the last one, but we can definitely fuzz faster. So that's going to be nice. And actually, so I have plans to start fuzzing some new stuff, like new code, basically. But while we wait for the stream to start, I might as well run the fuzzer with the current setup. And by the way, yesterday you could see that I was doing like 2,000 iterations per second when things were going well. We're now at 10,000. Definitely better. Hello, Penguin Operator. So I would say not bad. And also we are getting more coverage faster simply because, well, this is faster. So this is all well and good. But I think it's time to start fuzzing something else. Or more specifically, we need to include more code paths into the fuzzing. We got a raid? I don't think we did. So what should I do? I don't know. To make myself some tea? I'm gonna make myself some tea, and then we can start. So give me a few minutes. I'll be right back. Okay, hello everybody. I'm back. Okay, so where are we? Where did we leave everything? Okay, kind people, what are we doing right now? I'm running the fuzzer, but I can do something that I couldn't do yesterday, which is build my tests in release safe mode. Why do you want release safe and not debug? Because you want your tests to run fast. A fuzzer thrives in being able to run a buttload of tests in a short amount of time. And so the faster, the better. Why release safe and not release fast? Because you want the asserts. The asserts are, it's like, it's the, you know, it's like it's the I don't know, the gasoline to your car. It's the electricity to your electric train. It's like it's what fuels the fuzzer basically. You need asserts because your goal is to stress them to see if your asserts actually hold. And so release fast turns those asserts off, and so you might get a crash, but it's less likely. Like basically, turning off asserts in release fast yields you a strictly lower chance of encountering crashes. So, so you want the asserts, but you don't want, but you do want optimizations. Actually, you want as many optimizations as you can while still keeping asserts on. So what are you looking here is that we are running now this fuzzer in this faster mode, and it's fuzzing a ton now. It's fuzzing much faster, and yet it's not really finding any crash. What gives? Well, what I think is happening is that we have found all the, maybe not all crashes, but we found at the very least all easy crashes. Maybe not just easy, but like easy to medium difficulty crashes in the code that we are currently exercising. But we're not exercising all the code. In fact, one thing that I wasn't thinking too much about yesterday, but that it's worth clarifying, is that this coverage number here, like the bigger number, includes stuff that is unreachable. Actually, does it really include it or not? You know what? I'll take it back. I'm not 100% sure if this includes stuff that is unreachable, like basically like machine code, like functions that are unreachable given our current setup. Although yes, I mean, at least to some degree, definitely. So it is correct. We cannot. It is impossible for us to achieve 100% coverage here for sure, because the tokenizer exists, and we are purposely mostly staying in the happy path of the tokenizer. So some of that will be unreachable by design of this specific test that I'm running. But there's more code that I've written that we're not currently testing, and I think it's time to add that to the test to see what happens. More specifically, here's what I'm thinking. Here's what we do. We look at the AST and we say, well, if it doesn't have syntax errors, then we try to format it, which is great. But regardless, let's try to print the errors. So if ast.errors.len is greater than 0, then let's try ast.print errors out.written path. We can leave it null, and the writer is going to be dev null, not writer, because we want to discard whatever we write. We don't care about writing it for real. We just care about stressing the code that does the printing. Now, as I was fixing some other bugs, as I was like writing some other code, I stumbled very easily across a bunch of crashes in print errors. So especially stuff related to printing source lines, because I had like issues with what happens at the, for example, in the case of EOF, stuff like that. So let's see if the fuzzer is able. So my guess is that there's more of these. There's more of that. And I want to see if we're going to be able to, well, there we go. There we go. As I was saying, we found a crash very quickly. And this is it. We got an integer overflow. I don't know why it's pointing at this line. I think this is pointing at the wrong line. But regardless, why is it pointing at this line? But regardless, we found a repro, so might as well copy this and do it. Is there already something like a tutorial online for fuzzing, or is this work in progress? The fuzzer is horribly work in progress, unfortunately, double D. So yeah, it's not recommended to use it right now. Sorry. I'm doing like some early work with it, and I plan to have a chat with Andrew soon to see how to move the fuzzer forward. But it will become good sooner than later. I don't have a specific timeline, but I think that for the Zig project right now, the main priorities are async IO and related stuff, fuzzing, and potentially related stuff. For example, MATLAB has been working on a bunch of debug stuff. He hasn't been doing this work specifically for fuzzing, but it's related work. So let's see, Zig and Zig. You can see here there's a PR. Wait, is Andrew merging stuff now? Oh no, that's 9 hours ago. Okay. Where's the PR? Oh, there we go. The great debug refactor. So he's been working on debug info, printing stack traces, this type of stuff. So yeah, I'm doing like some early exploration work. Okay, so this seems it. So apparently this is what triggers the crash. Let me double check this because I'm slightly suspicious of this. Fuzz, check, fuzz. Okay, yes, it totally does. But look at this. It gives us a integer overflow. But here we're seeing the right thingy. Here we're seeing the wrong thingy. 441, but it's 439. I don't know, maybe I'm like would be interested in this. Because he's touching how this stuff gets printed, so this might be a bug that he introduced in his work. In any case, we have to worry about this. So this is not the first time that I've seen this blow up, and this has to do with I don't know what this has to do with specifically, but so let's try to understand how this can happen. Basically, we need to let's rerun through the logic. So we have a span that points at the error. One thing that we haven't been thinking about is that span might very well start at the end. At the very end of the document. And so what happens if that is the case? So we try to find a line start by going backwards. So this succeeds. And we start from here, which is interesting. So it's not really a starting, maybe it's a line dot end, something like this. Okay, let's see. Here we go backwards to find spaces left. Then we go again from start to start, and we increase it as long as it's lower than source.len. So let's say the start is source.len. This would have blown up if that was the case, and it didn't. So this IDX is probably the very last character. Okay, that's fine. Oh, it's this. I think I think it's no. What am I saying? It's this that blows up. So weird. Okay. So here we try to move it forward, but we won't move it forward. That's or rather, we'll move it forward by 1. Oh, I think this is what happens. We leave IDX. Oh, are we going to use IDX anymore afterwards? No. /n break IDX +1. You think so? But we don't want to include the index in here. Yeah, I think this is fine. Like we want to keep around the last non-space. Okay, and then this is the line. So, but this is all fine. Toggle. Oh, hello everybody. 77 people. What were you guys doing in Toggle stream? What has been Toggle working on? Is any character guaranteed after a new line? No. Can new line be the last char in a file? Totally, yes. Regrets? Start optimizing things and then threw it out. Well, such is life. You know, that's something that I was thinking about a few weeks ago. How oftentimes you try to, like, you see that you need an abstraction, or rather there's like maybe some repetition, something is a little bit more annoying to write than you think it should be, and so you introduce an abstraction for making it easier, and then what can happen is that, I don't know, maybe you wrote it perfectly and then it's a great fit and everybody's happy. But I think what happens more likely is that it's actually not exactly a perfect fit, and that also has compromises. And one thing that I was thinking is that, at least in my personal experience, thinking about my thinking about my past experience in this life, working in the software industry, I remember almost never hearing, for example, my colleagues say, well, you know, I attempted to introduce this abstraction and I failed. I rolled it back. More often than not, people introduce the abstraction and then they hammer everything that doesn't fit nicely into it. They hammer the fuck out of it until it does fit. And so, you know, failure is a reasonable outcome for these attempts. Like the fact that you can fail, the fact that in the list of or outcomes that you consider to be possible, failure is in that list. It's actually good, because sometimes it's just doesn't pan out. You learn something that you didn't know, or like that you had forgotten about. And so, yeah, it turns out that the correct ending for that attempt is failure. And I was thinking about this because I was working on an abstraction thing for replicating C-style flexible array members, which is I don't know, it's a thing that you can do, I guess, where basically you put a little bit of data at the tail of a struct, and like after the struct ends. Yeah, and so basically I did that, and it turns out that the abstraction it's not all that bad, but it's not all that good either. So it's kind of a failed abstraction. Yeah, but not everybody realizes that stuff can fail. In any case, what are we working on here? Well, my language server is becoming pretty decent. People in chat, if you are editing HTML and vanilla JavaScript, basically. So if you're doing React, keep doing React. If you're doing, I don't know, other stuff that has that uses templated HTML, keep doing the templated HTML. Don't worry about me. But if you, for some weird reason, happen to be doing simple HTML plus simple JavaScript, then do take a look at Super HTML, because it's actually now pretty decent at telling you when things are wrong and yeah, when things are wrong and yeah, that's mostly it. So and also auto formatting. I have pretty sweet auto formatting plus a bunch of other minor nice things from the language server. So do check it out. What am I doing right now? I'm fuzzing it. I'm fuzzing all the new code that I added, and I'm using the Zig native fuzzer, which is very far from ready to be used by everybody, but I'm doing some, like, let's say, early work to test it out, see how it is, and then also maybe use this experience to guide some design decisions about how the fuzzer will be implemented. How the fuzzer will be implemented, period. So what am I doing right now? Well, I have some math. So I have a piece of code that does this. So you have a line. Well, more specifically, there's the source file. Here's a span, which is a start and end offsets into this string, and then it's supposed to give you this, or rather, more specifically, it's supposed to give you these two lines below. It's supposed to basically identify the line around where the span is and print it, and then print these symbols where the span is, so that you see exactly who's the culprit for a given error. But apparently, I'm doing some index math that underflows, and I don't know why. And it has to do with corner cases, right? That's what fuzzers are particularly good at. This last charting file is a new line. That does not seem to be the case. No, it might be, but it does not seem to be the case. Or rather, it can also happen, by the way. Yes, a file can have a new line as the last character. Totally. Actually, that tends to be the case. In the Unix world, people like to have new lines as the end of a text file. Editors will add one for you, normally. That kind of stuff. Now, what were we saying? So this part seems fine. By the way, the line that what blows up is this. It's span.start minus this. This is what blows up. And here's the funny thing, though. We don't have errors at the very beginning of the document. So, yeah. Hey, X2. No worries. To answer your question, is any character guaranteed after a new line? No, that could be the last character, totally. But this is all fine. Like, this is all fine. So this is span.start. By the way, you know what? Maybe what we should do? We should maybe print what span.start is numerically. So maybe we're going to add a little bit of debug printing, and that will help us understand what's going on. Do you have to configure something for the fuzzer, or is it just working? Neither. You don't normally need to configure almost anything. You need to have a unit test that says that it is a fuzzer test. And you need to invoke Zig build tests with the -- fuzz flag. But there's no other big setup that you need to do normally. That said, currently the fuzzer is not exactly just working. Currently the fuzzer is not even experimental. Is before that is like just very bare bones. So you can watch me, or also you can watch like my stream from yesterday, for example, or the day before, to see how to use the fuzzer if you want. But that said, be aware that, for example, on macOS, Zig's main branch is master branch does not work correctly, so you will need the macOS fuzz branch for this stuff to work. So long story short, it's a little bit early. Okay, let's continue thinking about this stuff. You know what? Let's add a print. You know what? Even a multi-line print. So line start, spaces, left, last non-space line. So we move this below. And before we do span. Okay, let's see. Span. Also, let's do source len. Okay. So, okay, this guy we can stop. Let's build it. I'll take a look into it. I like to see what the Zig ecosystem progress is. Oh yeah, it does totally. One crush at a time, at least when I'm involved. Okay, so length is 191. Okay, this is really interesting. It's not really anything particularly specially, you know, at the borders of our document. It's just wrong math in the middle of it. Let's see, line start 21. Yeah, spaces left is 0, right? Because there spaces left is how many spaces the line has to the left. And I call it spaces, but it's not strictly spaces. It's like any form of white space, basically. White space that we stripped from the left side. You know, maybe it's indented a bunch. If the line is indented, we don't want to print the indentation. That can be safely ignored. So spaces left is 0. Last non-space is 78, which I'm guessing is like literally this %. And good news is that the fact that this is one line and it's the first line, we can even check this in the editor. Oh no, fuck, never mind. It's not the first line. So, oh, but no, it should tell us the column. Oh, I see. But it says 52 because these symbols probably are more than 1 byte. So this is invalid UTF-8. It's fine. We don't care. It just means that we are not going to be able to match that number in the editor, but who cares? Okay. Span is start 79 and 80. Oh, wait a second. Oh shit. Okay, we're printing more than one thing. Okay, so the first one actually did succeed. The second one is different. Okay. And it's an empty line. So basically, okay, so here the corner case is that it's an empty line. Why is the error at an empty line? It's because it's at the very end of this. Yeah, look at this. You see how this error is kind of like at the very end of this thing. It's pointing this error. Oh, the error is in the white space. This is an interesting corner case. Okay, so this is the problem. The problem is that, well, but what if the error is pointing in the white space? What do you do then? That does make sense. So I think that even before we think about fixing the crash, we have a semantic question, like what do we want the behavior to be? I would argue that if what we're pointing at is white space, we basically want to make sure that we keep it. The problem is that it itself is a new line. So what does the new line belong to? I guess we can always assume that the new line belongs to the, let's say, upper string. But I guess what I want is to replicate this behavior. Hello, nickname dev. You're definitely on time. So I think our behavior should be this. When we are on a new line, we want to consider it part of the previous line. So this means that the problem is not really fixing this math, or at least maybe there's also some of that, But before that, what I would do is decrease the index. We want to decrease the index. Oh, all right, we want to start like this. Now, span.start might be 0, so in that case, we don't want to decrement it. Although, yeah. Let's see with this change what happens. Yep, with this change, we diffuse this. And now we're saying white space not allowed. Oh, shit. But we are printing the new line. So the problem here is that we are printing the new line. So here's what I would say. Last non-space. Huh. Oh, this is funny. We can do this. There we go. And with this, we are not printing the new line, which is awesome. This thing is further along than this, but that's a different problem. That is a different problem that we are not concerning ourselves with right now. But now we have the right behavior. Okay, this is the fix for me. Maybe I should leave a comment. Oops. Let's do it this way. If the error starts on a new line, e.g., who equals open quote bar/n, we want to consider it as part of the previous line. And here we say, if span.start is a new line, don't print it. Basically, this is it. This is what these funky operations are doing, but they work. Okay, so I don't know if I need to fix the math down below. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. But you know what? We'll let the fuzzer tell us. We fixed this bug. Let's have the fuzzer run again and see if we can find another crash. Okay, we're not finding crashes super fast. That's good. Actually, whether that's good or not, I don't know. But but yeah. Okay, so it seems that we're not finding any crashes super quickly, but here's an interesting thing. You can see that we are getting more coverage than before, just a little bit, because now there's the code that we are, the error printing code that we're stressing that we weren't stressing before. So that's good. What else? We could fuzz some more. We could start fuzzing autocompletion, for example. But I think that after this, yeah, no, you know what? More than that, what I would do at this point is move on to implementing duplicate ID detection. We definitely want that. Hey, Defunk. Thank you. So I don't know how much time should we? You know what? Who cares? Let's leave the fuzzer running for a while we start working on this. So duplicate ID detection. I haven't done anything about this, but it's obviously, or rather, I have that in Super HTML. But obviously, we can implement that also in HTML itself. So Super HTML keeps track of IDs, and it keeps track, I believe, of IDs that have meaning for. Well, it tracks them in blocks. No, never mind. You know what? It does duplicated ID detection, but it's not. Yeah, it does it in the construction phase. In any case, for now we're not worrying about Super HTML. For now, I'm fine with regressing it. Who cares? Let's get the HTML stuff right. So, how does the ID stuff work? Well, when we are creating the AST, so in the init function here, we have scene utters, but we also want scene IDs. Straight up. And we want to pass scene IDs around to everything that might be processing ID attributes. And given how messed up HTML is, that is more than just functions that normally would deal with attributes. So validate attributes, obviously, wants that. So we can also do scene IDs. We pass it in here. But then another place where we do this is down here. I'll get to that. There we go. Here, validate nesting. Oh, we could pass this down. Yeah, actually, I should pass this down. And actually, this actually helps. Okay. Okay. So we have these two. Let's see. If node kind is extend super area base br, so these are void elements. SVG blah blah blah. We don't call validate content on them. Oh, you know what? Also, I think for these guys, we should also assert that their attribute. Let me do this. Assert that next dot You know what? We can think about this another time. It's fine. Okay, validate content. And we want to pass down to validate content scene IDs and scene authors. These are pointers. Okay, so we pass them down to validate content. You know what? Never mind. I think I want to do this. And I think we want to do this only in debug. So if built-in dot, do we have built-in? Yeah, we don't even have that. Oh, actually, no, this is more like a std. Never mind. It's an std debug.runtime safety. We want to keep this check also when fuzzing, for example. Okay. So what? Call validate content. Which now has these two guys. Now, what do we do with validate content? Well, in valid content, we need to pass these guys around. So this is going to be a good amount of refactoring. So everybody's drop in because we're going to have a bunch of functions to change. We're changing signatures. It's good. It's good. Let's do it. But yeah, that's what we're doing. Okay, so what were we saying? Unrelated question. Can conv.c in 0.15.1? Are you saying that this doesn't work? I think if it doesn't work, then it's lowercase c. I don't remember specifically, but I think I have this vague memory that something changed, and I think it's because it's lowercase. So try that. But sorry, I don't remember perfectly if that's actually, I don't know if it wasn't like the other way around or something. Okay, simple stuff. Oh, right. Here we're validating actually content, not attributes. So this is fine because down here we don't do anything of that sort. Check descendants. No start target territory name span. So this is just span. Same here. Okay. Yeah, so we only pass scene actors and scene IDs to this guy. Okay. So this has triggered a this has triggered a change. Art element content, custom, custom.validate. Yes, right. Hey, Jeff just came up and is impressed by your camera setup. What are you using? I am using a Sony a7S III. Right now, the setup is not amazing, by the way. Okay, camera moment. I haven't done this in a while, so I'll indulge in a camera moment. Let's see, full screen camera. So the proper setup, okay, ignore my hair, but the proper setup would be light on. I have way too much natural light coming from a window, and then also proper lights. And I should probably pull down the shades so that, you know, there's no natural light messing up my beautiful setup. But the way it would work is that you would see more of the purple with lower overall light in the scene. And I have two lights, one with an umbrella for diffusion, the other one, like my secondary light doesn't have anything for diffusion in front of it, but it's like not super strong either. So yeah, but you can definitely pull this off also without an A7S III. You can probably get a cheaper camera. You can totally get a crop sensor camera, and it will definitely look also as good. You do need to get the light right, though. That makes a lot of difference. And the lens is I don't remember. I think it's a 24 millimeter. 35 f1.8. So you want also something like this, like f2.0, 1.8. That's fine. You will get some bokeh. You definitely don't want a super faster lens than this, because what happens when you whip out a super fast lens is that the plane of focus shrinks so much that, like, maybe your eyes are in focus, but then the tip of your nose is not, or your ears are not in focus, which is a look that I personally find so silly. I think it's like such a stupid look. And I mean, you don't need that. Like, I don't know, maybe if your room is like super small and then you necessarily want that bokeh, but you don't have a lot of space behind you, then I don't know. But other than that, I think it's not needed. Yeah, in any case. Oops. Okay, back to the more moody situation. No problem. Yeah, okay, one last thing about cameras, and then I'll go back to programming. Personally, I do have a small regret, because I should have bought the FX30. Is it the FX30? Well, the FX equivalent of the A7S III. And I regret not doing that. I just it costed a little bit more, so I wanted to avoid that. But in hindsight, if you care about video more than you care about photos, you should totally get the FX line. It's rough. It's like the hardware is the same. The internal hardware is the same as the A7S III, and I think this holds roughly true also for the equivalent new versions of these cameras. But freaking Sony made cooler updates for video for that camera than for this camera, and also I think the form factor is great. So like it's a little bit better than this one. So my recommendation is get an FX if you care about video. That said, again, I'm using it as a webcam right now. This is a camera that I use for events, and when I'm not at an event, I use it as my webcam. But don't get an A7S III as your webcam. It's super overkill. Is the gear sponsored by the ZSF? Nope, not at all. No. So the way this stuff works is that I bought this camera when I organized the first Software You Can Love, and I used it to record events. Well, there's no photos of me setting up the camera because, well, the camera is the thing being set up, so I didn't have like a ton of cameras with me. But let Let me see if I can find something to give you an idea. Yeah, Software You Can Love, or also, for example, this was a meetup. This was a meetup that we did in Berlin, and this is my camera is recording this at a meetup location, which is a pretty decent shot. Consider that, you know, at meetups, it's not like you have a proper setup for video. You kind of have to be expedient, so you do what you can with what you have. Oh, we never zoom in again. Well, in any case, so this is what happened there. This is the first Software You Can Love. This is also being recorded by my camera. The operator in this case is Matt Knight. And I don't know, like you can tell that I just I didn't know what to do, so I just asked him, look, can you please move the camera because I'm gonna move around a little bit, and so I said yes. And then, I mean, you can see that it's not his job to move around cameras. Not to say that I would personally do, you know, a lot better, but as a consumer of content, you can tell when something is not professionally made. In any case, okay, camera moment over. Go back to programming. So we pass in scene attributes, we pass in scene IDs. Down here, we don't do anything of this sort, although, you know what, before we go down that path, let's do validate attributes. So let's, wait, I'm having like a brain fart moment. Okay, validate attrs. So scene attrs, scene IDs, we create a validating iterator. Oh, this is interesting. You know who should be really doing this work? Maybe this guy. To be fair, No, as much as I think it would be nice, I don't think that that's what we should do. It's annoying the fact that we have so much code duplication with like minor tweaks, but it is kind of necessary. Although, well, how do we do it everywhere else? Hello, Penguin Operator. Welcome back. How do we do this? Maybe take it back. Maybe that is the right place for this. Maybe that is the right place for this indeed. Because, okay, so let's say that we don't put it inside the iterator. Let's say that we put it outside the iterator. So then what happens? What happens is that everywhere we have this logic, either we, every single time, take note that something had a tab index, and we write it down. Also, now that I think about it, oh shit, I think there might be some cases where we don't record that we saw a tab index, and we don't write it down. God. Oh God. Well, so we could do it here. Alternatively, if we're doing that other thing, we don't have to change anything else. And I'm starting to think that we should do the tab index stuff also in there. in the VAT. Yep. Okay, let's do the VAT approach because the alternative really, 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 really sucks. We have seen IDs, and what we do is, well, as we continue and we get an attribute, grab the attribute name. To be fair, we could even skip here data dash attributes. But we already did it the other way, so this is fine, I guess. So we find an attribute, we set it, and we say, well, if at std mem dot ashi dot equal ignore size ignore case, sorry, utter dot name dot slice. Oh, utter name, we already have that. And ID, if it's an ID, then if utter dot value, if utter dot value then we want to do id gop is try vat.scene IDs get or put gpa b.span.slice source semicolon if id gop dot found existing else id gop equals dot value ptr dot star equals v.span. Okay, so we don't have scene IDs in our state. Should have that. Okay, what's our error in this case? We don't have an error code for this duplicate ID. You have special handling for ID attribute instead of template elements. I feel like those are not in the same namespace as the main document. Oh yeah, you're right. No, I don't, and I should. And fuck. Let's double check that. You're totally right. I forgot about template. That is a great point. And you know what? If this is it, then that is a definitive argument in favor of not doing this approach and doing another approach. No, sorry. What do you mean? Opposite. Thank you. Yeah, you're right. If that works that way, and it should, I like. I'm double checking just for certainty, but I think you're totally right. And if that is the case, then well, fuck. Um, So how do we know, where do we see these in the spec though? I would like somewhere that says this explicitly. Maybe, oh, you know what? Maybe it's ID itself that has this information in it. Or not. Okay. Let's think about it a little bit more. It is true that an ID inside a template could in theory be duplicated. It actually will, right? Because when you so if you clone something out of a template more than one time, then that's going to be a problem if you don't modify the ID. But if you, let's say that you do it only once, which is weird, but it's totally a legitimate thing to do, then yeah, there will be a duplication going on, and yeah. Okay, you know what? Let's double check this with the validator. Yep, and if I duplicate this ID, this div, I expect to see a complaint. Duplicate ID foo. And what if we do this in here? Well, that's the problem. That's this means nothing. But yeah, the validator isn't always right, but that's the problem is that if we can't fetch, if we cannot find authoritative information about this, then we don't know what to do. I mean, you can grab stuff out of a template with the by ID, right? So it makes sense for those to be unique as well. Also, what about different templates? So different templates, I guess each one of them is a separate thingy, so they all should be separate. Well, this sucks. This really sucks. This really sucks. In the elements tree, yeah. Okay, so we take out scene IDs from here because we can't validate, we can't do this stuff here. Although, although this is not exactly true. Let me think about it for a second. So the way this would need to work is that when we are inside of a template, you cannot put a template in a template, right? Templates cannot be nested inside of a template. Am I right about this? You can't put a template in a template. These motherfuckers, man. Why would you be able to put a template in a template? So if you can put a template in a template, then this means that yeah, look at this. Template contents of a template are not children of the element itself. So this probably talks about this stuff a little bit. Template element can have template contents, but such template contents are not children of the template element itself. Instead, they are stored in a document fragment associated with a different document without a browsing context, as to avoid template contents interfering with the main document. Blah, blah, blah. Text, character references, elements, and comments, but the text must not contain the less than sign or unambiguous ampersand. Why wouldn't you be able to? Okay, so if this is the case, then we necessarily have to keep around a stack of scene IDs. And what we do is that we push and pop from that stack, like a hash map of a stack of hash maps, and we push and pop from that stack every time we enter and exit a template, and we keep doing operations on the last one. And so what we pass around is, I guess, a pointer to the active one, but then we need to manage the stack. And now that I think about it, maybe this is compatible with what we were doing. So let me put this back. Let me put this back here for now. Let's go back into AST. It doesn't necessarily need to be a stack. Why not? If you can nest, wait, why wouldn't it be? If you can nest templates, then each is its own separate thing. So you need to keep around the previous ones every time you enter one. They just separate these joint documents. Your point does not make any sense in the context of what I'm working on. I mean, I understand that that's how they explain it in the docs, but the way I'm implementing this, that does not work. I don't have multiple, where is it? I don't have multiple documents that I'm creating. So scene IDs, it's a std array list. Well, let's call it scene IDs stack. std.array list of this guy. Also had this nice copy paste error in there. You only need a document fragment ID list mapping. It doesn't matter whether or not they are nested. It matters to me because I want to pop them from the stack as soon as I'm done with them. So as soon as the template closes, I want to de-init its corresponding map because I don't care about it anymore. Okay, so Synid is stack. So that means that every time we do stuff, what is Synid is, this is gonna be this is going to be Synid is stack dot. You have last. How do you get the last element? I mean, I guess I can just assert. I can just index into it. You know what? Also, where did this got me? Oh, it got me in here. That is interesting. Okay. Yeah, I think we can just assert. We can just index into it because we can kind of assert that always one is going to be there. Items. So scene IDs stack dot items dot len -1. Okay, we return a pointer to the last one. And then here's how it works. We see a start tag and we see, and we say, is it a, if kind is template, then scene IDs stack dot push, well, and append dot empty. Defunct dimension playlist. Sure. It's a live radio, by the way, but one that I like and that I've been listening to a lot. No problem. So if kind is template, we push a new empty scene IDs. We do it also here. Actually, you know what? Since we do it no matter what, let's do it down here. Actually, it's not current, it's new, right? Yeah. If new.kind is template, then we go down here. Oh, but wait, we already called validate address right away. Fuck. Never mind. We can't do it this late. Also, wait, we're not valid. Oh, right. We're not validating attributes in operational mode. Right. You know what? I think for now, it's fine to stick it here. Yeah, okay. You know, this is fine. Okay, we append a new scene ID. And then when we pop, so when we exit, we see an end tag. Actually, we can just do this. There we go. Straight up. Although, wait, no, this is too early. Because before you can do this, we need to actually match it. Because current might be template, but maybe the closing tag does not match. So let's take a look at what happens. If current kind is root, then this is definitely an erroneous end tag, and we're done. Okay. If the current tag is closed, then we move the current tag up. We look at the name and we say, well, okay. Let's see if it's super HTML. There's some code specific to super HTML. If it's HTML, we do get of the kind. Perfect. Oh, okay, we're getting the kind of the end tag, right? Which is what we should be doing. And then it needs to match. Let's see. Is void, has syntax errors. If not, is closed. Assert that it's not closed. This is a while. Hello, Matt. It's going well. I think I might have gotten a wrong stack trace, but it might have been me with outdated data. Sorry, I didn't stop to focus on that too much. But overall, things are going well. Let's see, same name. If same name, there we go. This is where we are matching. This is where there's the actual match happening. Current closes tag span. And then what is it that we're doing down here? Because here the match is happening. Original current. Oh, this is close. Basically, this is saying, well, okay, if we have a stack of open tags and we ended up matching this end tag with one above, and there's like some that didn't have a closing tag, now we need to generate an error for each one of those. Okay, so we can do this here. And maybe we can move it up here so it goes with the other ones. Okay. And so with this, we are correctly pushing and popping from this. Here we need to GPA plus GPA and then empty. Okay. We keep passing down the last one. We use that in the validating iterator. That is perfect. Then let's now go back into the validating iterator to make sure that everything works. So here we are using the hash map. Right, we were looking at creating a dedicated error message. So duplicate ID. Start location is not the author name, but it's going to be the vspan. Because this is not the author name that has the error. It's the author value. I mean, I guess you can put the squiggles wherever you want. You could argue that you could point at that. But this is fine. Okay. So this is all correct, I believe. So everything that uses the validating iterator now will correctly report duplicated IDs. And we have all the hash maps to support all the weirdo template nesting. What is missing is all the code that does not do normal attribute validation. So code that has its own code that doesn't use VAIT, which, and this is good actually because You know what? Now that I think about it, this is actually nobody. I think everybody uses the validating iterator when they are validating IDs, even the weirdo ones. So let me look at this. Dot manual. Show me an element that has manual attribute validation. No, this is not it. There we go. Option has manual attribute validation, and we do it in validate content for reasons. But even then, here we do this. But that does mean that we need to pass down the correct scene IDs as well, because we're going to need to pass it here. Also, scene utters, we don't need to do it anymore because we're going to pass it around. I'm actually happy with this change because it's more efficient. Okay, I have a few things of this kind to fix basically now. Quite a few. So audio video is using VAIT. Where is it? Oh, never mind though. Oh, I see. No, I don't. Oh, it's this one. Right. It's this one down here. Are you also handling character references? No, I'm not. I parse them, but I don't have the thing where basically I decrypt a string before analyzing it. Yeah, it sucks. Validate source once scene utters. Why? Because it makes a VAIT. Huh. Okay. It's on the list of to-dos. Mainly, I have code for, as I was saying, like I have a parser for it, but I don't have. It was contributed back when I didn't care about actually decoding this information. I said decrypting earlier. I was joking. But now I do need that. I do need to decrypt that. Then I'm missing this stuff, so I would need to ask the contributor to also change their contribution. Um, Actually, the main annoying thing is that basically you need to remap ranges every time you're reporting. So I have some validation functions that are able to tell you which part of your attribute value is wrong when you know it's when the value has a like a complicated structure, and basically we would need to remap those attributes. Remap those ranges. That is the one annoying thing, really. On top of the fact that you need to allocate memory to either you allocate memory or you implement all the parsers for those values as streaming parsers, which also sucks. So it is what it is. Elements root. Oh, this is interesting. So we need to pass down the entire stack, I think, to validate nesting, because now validate nesting needs to it needs to do like a second round of everything. Which really sucks. Well, it is what it is for now. Why? Because some attributes don't get validated when the element gets added to the AST, because they have complicated rules where the attributes interact with validation of their children. So attribute validation gets delayed until we validate their children in validate nesting. And so we basically need to redo here the same thing. Yeah, actually, wait, how does this work? We just do node IDX plus 1. Fuck. We didn't even have to do uh we didn't even have to worry about this stuff. God damn it. Life was nice and simple before we discovered these fucking template ID stuff. Um Yeah, we need to do a different kind of iteration at this point. Or you know what? Actually, we could kind of cheat. We could say if node.idx is greater than 0 and next ID is 0, we're the last child of a parent which is a template, then we pop. Where do we do this though? Let's say that this is a template without any child in it. Yeah, that's another case that it's not covered. Oh man. This is such an hack. Let's see it for a moment more. So if the node is greater than 0, doesn't have a next, and our parent is a template, we want to init it, or can template contain anything? Yes, it does. It can contain elements that would normally not allowed to be nested in any place. No, the spec has an example where they show you that you can put like li elements directly under a template, and that's fine. I have a dedicated content model for template called anything, which only template uses. I think this is how it has to be. So if it's a template and it doesn't have any children, then as we after we're done processing it, we need to pop its scene ID stack. If instead if instead well, not instead, but if we are the last child of a template, then we also pop. And so if you have two templates, a template that contains another template, you are done processing the inner template. That one doesn't have any children, so you need to pop its hash map. But you also live in the parent. So you need to pop it. Oh, guess what? Oh no, I just realized. Well, guess what the problem is with this code? There could be 3 levels of indentation, and then now this does not account for that because we don't have a entering, exiting system in this iteration that we're doing here. So never mind. So we need we need all the proper logic, which is going to be basically this. I should have just copy pasted that sooner. So next is n. No more this. Next is n, and also let's do this thing. There we go. Okay. So while true, if next dot kind is template, scene IDs stack pop question mark dot the init. There we go. This is it. Let's think about it for a while more. This is going to be the current element. If the current element is a template and we're exiting it, then we want to pop yes. Then we look at the next index. Does it have a next index? If it does, then great. If we're going to the parent, then next becomes the parent, and we loop again. And if the parent is a template, then we pop again. And as long as this happens, we keep popping until we find the next. Perfect. So, okay, this logic is now correct. What's the problem, officer? Actually, is this it? This has fixed the error, but is it really it? I guess. Switch must all possibilities. Yeah, we have a new error. Duplicate ID. And in the LSP logic, when we report this, we also say, well, if it's a duplicate ID, we also report the original. Perfect. We'll have to fix more functions for sure. Yeah, call group. What's interesting is that in reality, for the majority of these guys, we don't really care. Maybe we should have like a union that describes which set of attributes we want. But you know what? I'm not gonna do that now. So this is maybe for the future. Because we could probably shave off a bunch of attributes. Not only the ones that we're adding now, but also some other pre-existing ones. Let's do it this way. There we go. Data list. Next one, details. Ba-ba-ba-da-bum. Div. No, well, in between. God damn it. We're getting there. Oh, right. There's this scene others that is not necessary anymore, which means that we do need scene others. And it means that we also need scene IDs. We're making our own VAT. So for this guy, this is not, this was actually needed. Cool. Picture. Oh, and guess what? Scene others. So we have a VAT. Do we have a VAT among us? Yes, we do. We're getting close to, we're running through the alphabet, so we're almost done. Span. You would expect poor little Span to be simple and not be a bitch. And instead, even poor little Span has some annoying stuff to it. Poor little innocent Span. Table, of course. Wait a second. What did I do wrong? Oh, he's one of those guys. Oh, pop. But you can't concast a video, can you? Yeah, that's unfortunate. I have to be honest. I hate these the inits that work like this. Okay, we built. So we made it work. Let's see. I think we crashed already. Oh, you know why? Right. There's a that's kind of important. I forgot to push in the first entry. So let's see. Also, I'm missing some places where I'm recording stuff. The autofocus attribute is going to be a nightmare to implement. Is that a global attribute? Um, scene utters. Actually, we should assert that there's only one. That is not true, actually. Okay, wait a second. No, that's not true. So this complains about duplicate attribute name. So yeah, that's fine. Crash. Wait, it doesn't like the range? Huh. Kind of a suspicious index. The bad part is that there must not be two elements with the same nearest ancestor autofocus scoping root element that both have the autofocus attribute specified. Yeah, definitely that rule is not implemented. With the same nearest ancestor? The same nearest ancestor. So the same parent? The same nearest ancestor. Oh no, because I guess they could be. I guess there are two elements with autofocus. You need to find the nearest common ancestor. Scoping root element that both have the autofocus attribute specified. What? Yeah, I don't even know how to parse that sentence. Okay, let's fix this error reporting. What are we doing wrong? So we clearly created a crappy duplicate ID value. How though? Oh, there we go. Why? found the solution. There we go. Duplicate ID value. Good boy template. We give it an li. Notice that you can put li instead of this guy. You can't put li. Actually, why can you put li instead of this div? Oh, you know what? I think div might be special in that regard. I don't remember. What's the thing that can only go inside of other things? Maybe I'm wrong with li. I mean, li, you normally can only put inside a list, that's for sure, but it might have like a weirdo categorization. Summary. Okay, let's do summary. So you should be able to put summary at the top level. And the reason for that is because right now we are running in, since we don't have a doc type, we were saying this is a fragment, and so you can put whatever you want at the top level. I'm not going to check that. But yeah, we're not. Okay, we should be complaining, I think, about summary. And we're not. Or, wait, maybe the presence of one of the other errors prevents us from doing that? Out of curiosity. No, we're just not reporting it. So let me double check this later on. Summary and li. I think that both should be, we should be complaining about. In any case, template id equals foo. It's okay. But the second foo is not okay. Let's make those bar, just for clarity. And let's do that this is foo and bar. And buzz. So this is all working perfectly. This is all working perfectly. Hello, Blurry Cat. Not bad. Not bad. How are you doing? I'm doing fine. Check out duplicate ID detection. Wait, no. It makes sense. What? Are you still talking about the autofocus stuff? Why is it not working? Wait, what are you talking about? This is working. This is working exactly as defined. Although, notice one thing. There is one mistake. we are not evaluating these attributes, the attributes of template. They need to be evaluated in the context of the parent. So we need to go in validate nesting. Actually, everywhere in AST. We did this wrong everywhere. So this happens after evaluating the template's attributes, not before. And in validate nesting, basically the same happens. So in validate nesting, also we do it here. And you know, in this case here, it kind of makes you tempted to not append if it doesn't have any child. But then you need to add more rules down below. You haven't run screaming into the void yet. Not yet. There is something wrong because I would expect, so this belongs to the parent context and it's the only zoo, so that's fine. This zoo is in the body of this guy, so it's also alone and that's fine. But this zoo and this zoo are both in the same template and these zoos should collide. Is it on my end? No, I have no drop frames. So I don't know. I think it's you guys. Sorry. This time it's not me. At least I think. I don't know. Jesus Christ. Everybody. Wait, but what are you exactly experiencing? Well, by the way, we found the solution of this bug. For some reason, template has manual attribute validation. And I think this is wrong. I think this is not true. What are you guys experiencing? Seems back to normal. Okay. In any case, I found the bug. Basically, we are not validating template attributes. And I don't think we're doing it anywhere. Yeah, this is wrong. Okay, check this out. There we go. This is beautiful. Check this out. So here's what I fixed. When you are evaluating attributes of the template element itself, that is still the parent context. So it is correct that for this to not be a duplicate attribute, this not to be a duplicate attribute, but this one to be. What can I say? What a joy. Ah, okay. This seems, duplicated IDs seems kind of a key thing to have. So we definitely needed that. As for duplicate name and unknown for form, I like this stuff. I would say, yeah, it's more. It might be good to have, but it's not as critical as duplicated IDs. Like duplicated IDs are a 100% error. So good, we have that. Oh man, how many changes? The problem now, though, is that if we look at the changes that I made, I have some changes in FMT. Some changes in the HTML generator. A new error message. So wait, this is all the changes in AST. Um, print source line has some changes. There's a debug print in there, which we need to kill. I guess we want to call. We want to modify source HTML and CLI LSP logic. Okay, we're still on a branch though. I have to decide what to do with this comment, but yeah. What's the problem with duplicate name attributes? It's not a problem. It's just that it's less critical than duplicated IDs, I think. Duplicated IDs are like totally necessary. Okay. So what do we do next? Maybe we should fuzz again and see if let's give it, yeah, let's do a fuzzer run just in case, we change some stuff. Let's see if the fuzzer happens to stumble upon something silly. Okay, let's have the fuzzer run a little bit. Just see if he finds anything. Okay, so it doesn't seem that we're finding anything immediately trivial. That's good. So yeah. Okay, duplicate name detection. So what are the attributes that count towards that? So I guess what is it? Inputs? Is it form elements and that's it? A lot of elements can have a name. Oh god. Okay, it seems that we have done. I think I'm fine with this. Just a quick fuzz pass. Use a tiling window manager on macOS? No, this is done manually. On Linux, I have a Linux virtual machine. That one does use i3, but I'm not using it right now. Meta is an obvious one. The deer attribute. Wait, why? Let's see. What is Zig? It's a programming language. So this guy has name, but this name does not seem to be one of the things where the name needs to be unique. Actually, maybe it does. I don't know. But this seems less important. To me, it seems that the most important one is forms. So input element. So associates the element with the form element, name of the element to use for form submission. I guess we should do this. And if we do this, it means that we need to basically change our stack of scene IDs to also basically have a second hash map. We need a hash map for names and a hash map for IDs. That said, wait a second. No, that's actually wrong because a name needs to be unique within the same form, right? Actually, you know what? No, I'm not even sure that it needs to be unique. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so then duplicate name detection is not even a thing. So when is name duplicate detection a thing? Now that I think about it, I don't know. Maybe. By the way, I made this myself up. I wrote this down, so maybe I just wrote something stupid. I think I just wrote something stupid. We don't, at least so far, the ones that we've seen, we don't care about them being duplicated. Form refers to an ID, so that's a different story. So form would be like, yeah, it's unknown form and unknown for. But in terms of duplicated stuff, I think this is it. So, okay. So this is not a thing. Delete it. This one, I'm not sure if I want to implement. So I'm going to delay this a little bit more because, as I said, I would have to think a little bit more about the interaction with JavaScript. Probably I'm just overthinking it, but whatever. Let's do the area stuff first. So where's the area stuff? Map element, global attributes. Where's the area star stuff? area checked described by disabled label level. Is there anything more? Anything more than this? The following terms are defined in area. Accessible name. Oh, this is the mystical accessible name stuff. Okay, I'm going to assume that it's just these attributes. So I'm going to take a very quick bathroom break, and then I'm going to implement these bad boys, and then we, I don't know, go around, open some files, and see what happens. There's more. Jesus Christ. Okay, if you happen to find a link, I don't know, if the link that you shared is already great. If not, please do share a link where there's a list or something. I'll be right back. No, please. 53? What? Jesus. Except where prohibited. When it's prohibited. Wait, I need to read everything. Labeled by, okay, defines a string value that labels the current element, here related, blah, blah, blah. The purpose of area label is the same as that as area labeled by. It provides the user with a recognizable name of the object. The most common accessibility API mapping for this label is the accessible name property. Oh. most host languages provide an attribute that could be used to name the element. The title attribute in HTML. Yet this could present a browser tooltip. In cases where DOM content or a tooltip is undesirable, authors may set the accessible name of the element using area label. If the element does not prohibit use of the attribute, how? Where do I see this? On role. List of states and properties that are prohibited on a role. Authors must not specify a prohibited state or property. All elements except caption, code, definition, deletion, emphasis, generic, insertion, mark, known, paragraph, P in HTML, caption. Yeah, it's not specific to HTML, which makes it in some ways worse. Mark in HTML. Term, DFN in HTML. To be fair, I'm guilty of the same thing. When I designed SuperMD, SuperMD has some concepts that relate to how you generate HTML out of that, but it's not. I don't use HTML concepts directly into SuperMD because I want to be able to output stuff that isn't HTML, and so I don't want the two things to be coupled too tightly than they really need to be. Wow. Area hidden. I do think that, but you know what? The fact that these things are not just used for HTML, let's take a look at this. The role attribute is defining accessible, reach, internet applications, and the following roles: button, presentation. In addition, the following area star content attributes are defined in area. Finally, the following terms are defined in area. But why is it singling out these guys? So why are these guys singled out in that definition? Because they're referenced in the spec, but they still allow anything area. You know what we could do? As a temporary thing, we could just detect, we could just basically consider area the same as data. So if something starts with area, we just, I don't know, skip it in a sense. Area hidden. Well, but it doesn't matter, right? Oh, area hidden, you say, is a big one because it's used a lot. As of area 1.3, area hidden equals false is now synonymous with area hidden equals undefined. They introduced undefined as a string. These guys, man. Why can't they just leave it as a Boolean tag? Why do they hate Boolean tags? Sorry, Boolean attributes. They're actually so good. I would say they are maybe just one of the few good things that HTML has. But in any case, we don't care about this stuff, do we? I mean, in terms of semantics that we need to implement ourselves. So area attributes, translatable attributes. braille label property. The value of error braille label is not empty or does not contain white space characters. The value of error braille label does not contain any characters in Unicode braille patterns or consists of only characters in Unicode braille patterns. What? Wait, isn't this a strict uh isn't this strictly dominating this? Make sure that it doesn't contain any character in this list or consists of only characters. Or I guess this is positive, like this is either all braille. Okay. Yeah. The video does not contain braille pattern dots 0. The value of area braille label is not identical to the element's accessible name. Okay, there is a lot of work to implement this. Here's how I would do it. I would do it in 2 phases. First phase is we just treat area as data and we just let it through and we don't validate it. Because I don't want to do another Pokédex. But we should open an issue to implement this stuff. And the good thing is that we can add them to the global list of attributes. We can just add them to the global list of attributes, and as they get added, they will be recognized. And basically the new rules will kick in up to when we have implemented all of them, and we can remove the workaround, and at that point, everybody should be happy. So here's how I'm going to do it. Actually, no. What's happening? What? Wait. Did I not save? What happened? Is data. Oh, I'm dumb. That's what's happening. What's happening is that I'm dumb. Okay, and for a real world example, we can take a look at I think we can do we can get index.html. Let's see what we have. Okay, I have my spell checker that complains about somebody's surname. Let's see what other errors do we have. So EMG is missing a required attribute alt. What is it? Space D. Okay. Invalid attribute. We don't have type for CSS. I'm not sure if that's actually wrong, right? Type should be allowed on style. So let's take a look at that next. So we're missing alt, we're missing alt, we're missing alt. Invalid attribute. Role. So role is not implemented. And a bunch of images missing alt. Okay, so role and type on style are a problem. So let's take a look at that. Static validation. Attributes has media and blocking. It has medium blocking. It doesn't have type. Wait, was style type wrong all along? Type attribute is indeed allowed on style. Is it though? I don't see it here. I don't see it. Doom, doom, doom. I think the type is only for deprecated. Yeah. Well, fuck that. Then that's wrong. Okay, we keep it as an error. Good. Good, good, good. Yeah, missing out, missing out, missing out. I think that it would be nice if the formatter automatically added alt equals empty string to EMG elements, to be honest. Maybe. But not as a, well, not the auto formatter, sorry, to be specific. On insertion, like when you generate an image tag, we also automatically put there the alt. You don't think it should? It's wrong for an EMG to not have that, though. But sorry, to be clear, not when auto formatting. I spoke wrong. When auto formatting, but when typing it up, like when you generate the EMG tag, then it automatically gives you that stuff. Okay, so then there's the role attribute. I guess we can implement the role attribute, although I think it has a semantics to it that we don't implement. So is role going to be listed here in global attributes, or is it? It's not. Otherwise, we would have it. Yeah, I guess it's one of the area thingies. Does it do anything weird then? Let's just add the role, I guess. PQRST. That's not a good description. Yeah, I know, and I can't find it. HTML attribute reference, but it's not going to be listed in here. So also, what are the values of role? Man, these people don't make it easy, huh, to implement this shit. I have to say they really do not make it easy. Jesus Christ. Well, these are the different roles. I would be surprised if the references, if the HTML spec really doesn't have anything about this stuff. Yeah, it just links to the other spec. I guess somewhat understandably, but so where's the list of roles from this guy? Okay, so this is what I was looking at before. Okay. And you know what? We're gonna leave this description there. We don't have anything better for now. Let's make maybe a to do for this. I think we should merge all these changes that I'm making back into main branch. The problem is that I've upgraded the Zig version, and I don't know if we should take the plunge yet. Especially since I'm also on a weirdo Zig branch. So let me do it like this. So I have a bunch of VIP commits in this branch. Okay. Now let's make it. Let's pull everything back to older Zig. Add support for that, basically. Oh, now we can actually trust this error. So let's do it like this. Do we have built-in? We do have built-in. So if where's the version of Zig in here? Zig version string. Oh, we also have Zig version as a semantic version. That's good. Yeah, Zig version minor. Expected for arguments found 3. Yeah. Oh, debug info. Well, you know what? Let's do it this way then. Hopefully everything works out. Hopefully everything works out. Okay, so this is it. The role attribute has its own spec. Of course it does. Why wouldn't it? Member function expected to see arguments found 5. Yeah, FMT. Okay, what's your problem now? Expected 6 arguments found 5. Right, there's a null somewhere. Is it the last argument? No, size int goes below max bytes. I think this is what we want, and I think we're gonna need to do this other places. Hmm. What do you not like about what I just did? Wait. Is this seriously what's happening? Oh, find modified by process. That's what's happening. Okay. Accessibility is one of those things that is really important, yet it's such a pain to implement. Yes, I agree. I agree. I definitely agree. I mean, all these specs are a complete disaster, no matter which way you look at them. But there's clearly the fact that accessibility is not their like first concern makes that part suffer even more. Okay, so now we build with Zig 015. We also build with Zig 016. Do we support both versions at once? We do. Perfect. Okay, I think it's time to merge into master. Well, main. I'm gonna make a PR for this. Why not? So that people can get some visibility on GitHub, since we have contributors. So duplicate detection. Uh, there's Pfizer fixes, which is a commit that contains like a giant soup of things. So you should look a little bit into this. Oh, and I sincerely hope that this version of the LSP kit, oh, that does work with both. I actually tested it. Um, I've improved the semantics of format. I say also stopped area support. And then we need to put a niche number in there. Um, Is fuzzing on macOS supported in 0.16 master, or is it a branch? It's a branch. It's like a turbo experimental branch. It's called macOS-fuzz, and it's not even based on master branch. It's based on another work in progress PR from MLUG. So, you know, caveat emptor. Yeah, to do MLUG. That's the one. So, keeping that in mind, it's there. Yeah, there are definitely issues that are contributor friendly for sure. It just requires you to have energy. I have to be honest, I expended a lot of my energy doing the Pokédex, and it will be a while before I have recharged my batteries enough to jump into another adventure of that kind. So especially when now there's a new spec that I'm familiar with that I need to learn how to navigate, I just don't have the energy. And I think that in a sense at this point, setting aside, you know, personal feelings, I also think that from a practicality perspective, it's not a bad idea. It's generally not a bad idea for me to focus on other things and leave these as to-dos for contributors, at least for a while. If nobody picks it up in, I don't know, like a month, then I'll go back to it. But otherwise, somebody could try their hand. At the end of the day, you know, for me, it's super tedious because I've already gone through this process a bunch. But for somebody who, for whom this stuff is new, I think it's an interesting mix of things that are not too hard and things that are like maybe a little bit interesting. So, solving this issue means filling out the implementation of role in source HTML attribute.zig c global. Also, you know what? Instead of this, let's do it like this. And maybe we can make it. I think there's the concept of, hey, Infinite Coder, thank you for the raid. Is there a concept of sub issues? But you create them afterwards, right? Like first you create a list of these and then you can create sub issues afterwards. I don't know how that works. Well, we'll figure it out afterwards. Implementation of role. So hello, Infinite Coder and people joining. We added support for duplicated ID detection in the language server, and now we stubbed out support for area attributes, but those things are like a ton. So I'm filling out issues for those. Implementing all area attributes. So where should area attributes be in the list of suggestions? So if I do this, set auto completion true, and we're here. So ID class and slot should definitely be at the top. Then we have these guys. I think that the area attributes should be at the end. Maybe even after all the on. They do start with A, but there's no point in putting them up here. Unless, you know what, there's maybe, I don't know. No, I think we put them at the bottom. That's it. Okay, so um, what are the specs for these things? So for the area attributes, this is the link, right? Okay, what's role? So you guys were saying that there's like multiple specs. What's the one that we should trust? Oh, this one is short. Wait, where's the list of values? I think I'm gonna link the MDN thing. Oh, you know what? Maybe we can just base it on this. I don't know. Attributes, roles. You know what? Let's do this. The specs are too brutal. Well, you know what? Okay. Let's copy this link. Mm-hmm. Okay, but wait, is this okay for area in HTML? Thank you. I'm gonna specify this better. Okay, what do we link for role? Because that role document seemed kind of crappy. This one seems crap. It really doesn't seem to have anything useful. Talks about XML, sorry, XHTML. Like, who gives a crap? No. Um. Oh, role is specified in the HTML spec. Delightful. Section 5. Thank you. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Okay, I think this is it. 103. Did I? What's the draft? Hmm. So this is correct. Oh God. Okay. Thank you. Oh wait, you're saying this one up here is wrong. This one needs to change. Or is it the one below? Wait, is this it? Is it this one or the one below? You mentioned github.io, so I think you meant the one below, but wait. I should read this link instead of just clicking it. Yeah, this is area not just in HTML. Okay, does it have though this thing? It created a new tab. Yeah, but where did you create it? At the very bottom. Area dash attributes sends us in a completely random place in the spec. Wait, what the fuck? What? I'm so confused. Why does this work? It didn't change anything. Oh, I don't know. Whatever. Okay. Well, this is it. Here's the button to create, I guess. Move up, move down, convert to issue, convert to sub issue. How does this work? I should not have pressed this button. I hate this already. Copy. Remove sub issue. Never mind. Let's imagine that I never press this button. Okay. Hey, didn't I delete this? Okay. Okay. Well, I would say this is it for me. This was a good day. We made some progress. Good progress. I'm gonna put an X there because we actually did this. We did fuzz. We did merge everything back into main branch. We are giving an opportunity for contributors to do some work if they want. We are working towards full support of HTML. So yeah, not bad. And we're not crashing a lot. We're crashing some still. Here's an issue about a crash. But yeah. This is not a repro, man. These are not steps to reproduce. This is you suggesting a fix, not a repro, man. God damn it. I mean, this is correct. This is wrong. Like the code is wrong, but this is not a repro. Anyway, well, thank you all for hanging out. I hope you learned something. I definitely learned something. We learned how well, it's actually kind of complicated to to fix to even detect duplicated IDs. Jesus Christ, to do that actually correctly for real. So well, with this in mind, let me call it a day. Let's see if there's anybody that I should raid. There's an Ethernet cable live, so yeah, I'm gonna raid the Ethernet cable. Go say hi to him and have a nice day.